I'm reviewing Kato's new N-Scale Big Boy right now on Ron's Rail Reviews. Hi, and welcome to Ron's Rail Reviews. Ever since 2019, when UP's Big Boy 4014 rolled out of the Cheyenne steam shops after a complete restoration, it seems like all types of railroad fans everywhere have been enamored with this locomotive. Now, personally, I've been in love with the Big Boy ever since I first saw one in person on static display at the Museum of Transportation in St. Louis back in the early 1990s. This is a massive locomotive that absolutely captures the imagination, and I think for those of us who had not been alive long enough to see it running in person originally, we were very excited to hear that one was being restored and that we were going to get a chance to see and hear it live on the rails once again. Well, along with all of that excitement, there have been a number of different models made of the Big Boy in the last couple of years in a variety of scales. A couple of years ago, I had an opportunity to review the Athearn N-Scale version of the Big Boy on loan and really enjoyed the opportunity to run it on my layout for a couple of days. Well, last year, Kato announced that it was producing its own version of the Big Boy in N-Scale. Now, I don't model Union Pacific, and I don't model the transition era. I had no reason, as far as my layout is concerned, to purchase a Big Boy, but I'm going to be honest, I just couldn't resist. And when I got the notification from Midwest Model Railroad that their Big Boys were in and for sale, I just had to pick one up. So today, I'm going to give you a review of this locomotive and let you know exactly what I think. Now, this is not a sponsored video in any way, so you're going to get my actual opinion of what I think about this locomotive. So, with all of that said, let's head on over to the workbench, open it up, and take a look. The Big Boy I have is the standard DC version. Kato is producing this locomotive in DCC and DCC Plus sound, but you had to pre-order those units specifically. I have seen that there are already some vendors that are upgrading their DC Big Boys to DCC and sound for resale. I'll probably upgrade my own to DCC with sound, and when I do, I'll produce a video on my other channel, Ron's Trains and Things. The model came packaged in a cardboard outer box with custom foam packing surrounding a custom-fit plastic cradle. The box includes this instruction sheet for replacing the normal pilot with the included double heading pilot with coupler. There is no exploded parts diagram in the box, but one is available online from Kato, and I'll include a link to it in the description below this video. Within the packaging, the locomotive is wrapped in a soft protective plastic sheet. Taking a first look at the Big Boy, I have to say it is an impressive model, even in N-Scale. The sheer size, the detail, all of the moving parts just make this locomotive in any scale a sight to behold. The prototype is 132 feet long with its tender and weighs over 1 million pounds. This model matches the 2021 excursion state of number 4014 after its 2019 rebuild. Thus, it has the fuel oil tender rather than the coal tender. It has a graphite painted firebox and silver piston covers. Its outer shell is plastic with some standout brass details which look superb. Looking at the underside of the locomotive, it features electrical pickup from all the drive wheels as well as from the wheels on the tender. When I ran it, it never skipped a beat for me, as you'll see in a few moments. It does include traction tires on one drive axle for each of the sets of drive wheels, a total of 4 wheels with traction tires. I checked all of the wheels and found them to be perfectly in gauge. I also checked the coupler height and found it to be spot on. I weighed this behemoth and it weighed in at 5.6 ounces, though honestly it feels like it weighs a pound. Again, looking at the undercarriage, you will note that not only are the two sets of drive wheels articulated, but the trailing truck is articulated as well, varying from the prototype, which has this truck hard-mounted under the cab. I've already heard some complaints about this variation from the prototype, but this double articulation allows the locomotive to negotiate 11-inch radius curves. I know that it ran perfectly on my 16 and 18-inch curves. The model also features dual coreless motors, one motor for each set of 8 drive wheels, for absolutely incredible pulling power. Now, my model did have one issue out of the box, in that one of the cylinders that holds the connecting rods together had come loose. This was on the underside of the locomotive as it lay in the box, and I fully expect that it was something that simply shook loose during shipping. It was a simple matter to reconnect, taking only a few seconds, and I had no problem with it after that. Here are some images of the Big Boy. Notice the fantastic rivet detail, all of the piping and handrails. Some are molded on, but many of them are separately applied. The drive wheels look great, and the texture of the graphite paint is very nice. Again, I think the handful of brass details really stand out. Both the headlight and the tender reverse light work directionally and look great. The connecting rods and other moving parts look great as well, whether they are still or in motion. And speaking of being in motion, this DC version looks amazing in motion. Here are a couple of shots of it pulling 25 coal loads across a mountain section of my layout. I am very impressed with this Big Boy model, and if you're considering picking one up, you have my recommendation. And again, watch for a future video of me upgrading this one to DCC with sound on Ron's Trains and Things. To see more reviews of steam locomotives or Kato locomotives, check out the links on your screen, and be sure to join me again for future reviews right here on Ron's Rail Reviews. 10, Lizzie?